Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. In honor of Reylo being back in play for ARH and leading up into the FFG Standard event for Gencon' 2022, I went back to the OG SWDB and I dusted off my CM Reylo deck list. Today we're going over it and discussing the Reylo deck for anyone who might be looking to play this little gem at Gencon. Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando for another Destiny Friday. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope everything's going well. So that's right, 1 week away from Gencon'22, which will be, without a doubt, the biggest IRL play meetup that we've... actually, is it without a doubt? I don't know. That one that was down at Miniature Market was actually pretty good. So yeah, fair enough. But perhaps the most prestigious, of course, with being ARH World. So again, 1 week away. Reminder, there's the ARH Standard event. Currently, as per when I'm shooting this, there are 12 signed up for that. The Smash event is at 15 signed up, and then no surprise, at least to me, the FFG Standard event is currently the largest one. The reason that's not a surprise to me has nothing to reflect on my area. It's just that there's a lot of people going to Gen Con who are probably going to bring their Destiny deck and stop in and roll dice, right? So that's very exciting. A lot of people we're bringing back. Maybe you can make some converts. It should be a pretty awesome time. And then I want to go ahead and throw up the prizes here, right? Look at this. This is all donated art, right? It's all donated art, and they look fantastic. So nicely done. Thank you to everyone involved in that. Those are some pretty great prizes. The Afra, I'm a huge fan of the Afra art, as you guys know. We've talked about that. So yeah, today I wanted to talk Reylo. So like I said, I went back to the old DB because I never transferred it over because there was no point, and then by that I mean into the ARH database. But now there's a point. So no, but I'll go back and rebuild it because obviously they're not all legal. So specifically, right, we're talking the CM. Well, it is CM, but we're talking the FFG legal era, right? So Reylo, again, one of my favorite decks, I think one of the best decks in terms of overall scope. Whatever, I mean, obviously there was stuff that was better than it, right? But one of the fantastic deck, right? On all accounts, hugely thematic, super fun to play. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and run down the deck list because that's what I've got splashed up. So running Obi-Wan's Hut, right? That was out of the Legacy's 2-player set, which is legal. I keep forgetting that was part of Legacy's block, and by that I mean it's Legacy's block. So anyway, Obi-Wan's Hut's on there. We have Temp Truce and Rey, obviously. So for upgrades, I like to run this upgrade heavy. The reason is you have a lot of overwrite things going on, right? You've got stuff like Crossguard, and then you've got your redeploy, your daggers and Anakins, right, which are your bigger redeploys. And I generally find myself playing an upgraded turn, right? And I mean, that's not too shocking, right? So we have Anakin's lightsaber, remember, that came out of CM. That's probably better than Dagger in many cases, but either way, we're running them both. 2 crossguards, obviously that one's going on Kylo. Once it comes down, it's good in of its own right, but once it comes down and does the ping, it's overwrite fodder. 1 Dagger of Mortis. I'm running 2 Dark Council. I know that's not a weapon in of itself, but it's a really, really good 1-drop, especially for these guys with all the specials on there. We have 1 Ezra's lightsaber. Remember, that's a 2-drop that redeploys. That one's really good. Neiman Mastery, for obvious reasons. That's one of that in the FFG days. That was one of the best cards out there before it just rotated out of ARH. And then 2 copies of Yoda's lightsaber. I know it's unique, but it's a 1-drop, and it goes really well with these guys because what you really want to be doing in many, many cases, if possible, is drop something for 1 and then polarity or something else for 1. We are playing 1 Mind Extraction. That's clearly just a Palp play, right? Because this deck is very aggro, right? It puts out a ton. You want to be able to get that 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever you need on Palpy. And if you can't, then maybe you can Mind Extraction him and blow him off the table. So for sports, we have one copy of Luke's Protection. This is a little of like the anti-mill cycling to a certain extent, but it also helps you get the shields on Rey to start doing the bouncing, right? The recycling, the resolve and re-roll, whatever you want to call it. Two copies of R2-D2. He fits. This little dude is good, right? Little R2-D2, Legacy's R2-D2, very, very good for this. It's two copies in there. Again, it's kind of the same idea as Yoda's lightsaber. I know he's not overwritable. And sure, it stinks but you want him early, right? You want him on the table early, and it follows the same one-drop thing. So for events, half the deck is events, 15 of them. One conflicted, love that. Do you remember both these guys only have 2 damage sites, so a lot of times it ends up being a shield play, so that's why I ended up on 1 there. I have 1 draw closer, that is the Neiman play. That is a crazy, crazy, crazy play when you can get it to work, but again, it's multi-piece, so I found one of his best there. We have Forsaken and Hidden Motive, and then depending on, remember, you want to check your legality depending on what version of everything was being used, because it kind of gets murky back in that day. So make sure you're checking the legality. I know they have it posted. If you can find the right link, they have it all posted. I'll do my best to put it on there, but you would make sure that you can play both Forsaken and Hidden Motive, which I have both of them. You can see a little exclamation mark down there. We have 1 copy of Lothal's Bond. That's one that it's very strong when it comes out early, but it's one that you could probably use a text slot in if you wanted to. 2 copies of Nullify, 2 copies of Pacify, 2 copies of Polarity, and 2 copies of Steadfast. So this is it's just good stuff, Reylo, right? So what's the weakness? The weakness of Reylo, right, is when you lose one of your pair, you're in trouble. My personal preference of playstyle was I always liked to kind of load up on Kylo and try and make Kylo the target, because fighting a fully loaded Rey in game is it's tough, right? She's bouncing shields, making more shields, hitting you for 2 or 3, and she just keeps going. So when I played against this deck, the advice was I always kind of liked to go after Rey first, but it always sucked to have, because Kylo's a damage engine, so it always sucked to have him on the table. But I found he was easier to deal with in-game than Rey when she just kind of kept tanking and you couldn't really cut through. So, but again, that'll depend on your personal playstyle. The other reason I like to load up Kylo, if possible, was because of really just the crossguards, right? And that working with him. Nathaniel, who was a guy in our play group, you guys probably saw him back in the day on camera a lot. He liked to play a little, even more like stronger upgrade suite. He was playing, like Kylo's. Well, no, Kylo, that would have been an infinite, but either way, he was playing like some of the bigger upgrades, like Xi'an and stuff like that, on them as well, and perfectly legit there. These guys did kind of struggle with, even in that age, they kind of struggled with cash, right? So, right, because remember, it was way lower cross curve back then. These guys did not make a ton of cash because they were either hitting or bouncing or whatever it was. So that's why I kind of like to stick to the 1s and 2s, with the 3s being the overwrites. But that is just my personal preference. So again, this is a deck I highly recommend. Like if you're just coming back and you're joining people, this is a great one to roll. Again, if you look at the field of what's going to be probably popular for the FFG event, maybe somebody brings Palp back. I think Palp struggles because there's going to be some form of droids that are legal depending on which holocron everyone is using. Majo, if you do end up watching this, you can maybe link to that exact page so people can go find. In fact, hopefully it will. I'll ping you on that. Either way, so Palp may or may not be a thing. There'll be some sort of droids. The reason I don't think Palp will necessarily be as prevalent as he maybe could have been is because definitely you're going to have the deadly Trandoshans in whatever form there. You can play them. You can't do like the face the enemy and stuff because that was on the restricted list. I remember Jeremy put that on the restricted list pretty early within CM. So you won't necessarily be able to do that, but those guys can output a buttload of damage and they can outrace Palp, right? So I do expect them to be on there. These guys do relatively well into the Trandoshans because they can blow them down. They can blow one character down pretty easy because you can put out a lot of damage, and then polarity and steadfast, right? So you do some pretty good stuff in this deck in terms of early damage. But if they can blow one of your guys down too, it's fair play. Whoever loses the character first, right? It sounds like Destiny 101. And then Ewoks are maybe 50-50 with these guys. I think it just depends on how much they get out. But I think Ewoks were pretty good back then, right? If they got the cards, But these guys, again, with the damage they can output and the pings, they can usually cut down an Ewok or two. And then, hopefully Rey can do her shield thing and just kind of keep you alive and stave off those indirects, because you can choose where to put them to keep the shields and then do the bouncing. And then when they do diplomatic protection, if you've got Kylo, he can cut through the shield. So they did pretty. Maybe it was probably more than 50% actually against Ewoks. But again, if they hit the nuts, they hit the nuts. But isn't that kind of destiny? I think it is. So anyway, folks, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm very, very curious to see, because it's all about who shows up and who's there to have fun, and so it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see. We'll do a rundown of it. I can't wait to see the decks that show up and who takes it and who walks away with the sexy mat. So anyway, folks, thanks very much for tuning in today. Once again, everyone headed to Gen Con. Good luck, safe travels. If you're not, you know what? Just Mike contacted me the other day, and he recently moved, unfortunately, but fortunately for him, he moved down to a playgroup. He's been playing a ton of Destiny with his playgroup down there. Game's alive, folks. Freaking fantastic. So anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. As always, and if nothing else, go Commando.